Beloved, before the sun rises and the noise of life begins, heaven is already awake, waiting for someone to say, Lord, I'm here. Every day is a gift, but how you unwrap it determines what you find inside. The first few moments of your day are not casual, they are covenantal. They set the rhythm for everything that follows. You see, the way you start your morning determines the way you live your day, and the way you live your day determines the way you end your life. When you open your eyes, you're not just waking up to another routine. You're waking up to divine assignment. The morning is heaven's whisper. Come, let us reason together. Before you face the world, you must face your Creator. Before you talk to people, you must talk to God. Before you run to your schedule, you must kneel before your source. Because the secret of a peaceful day is found in a prayerful dawn. Morning prayer is not about asking for things. It's about aligning with purpose. It's where you synchronize your heart with the heartbeat of God. It's where you say, Father, order my steps, not my will, but yours be done. You cannot lead your day if heaven has not led you first. Prayer doesn't just change situations. It changes you so you can change situations. When you rise in prayer, you are rising in power. When you kneel before God, you stand tall before life. That's why the enemy loves distracted mornings, because a distracted start becomes a defeated day. Every morning, God releases daily bread. Not yesterday's leftovers, not tomorrow's promises, but today's portion of wisdom, strength, and grace. You can't survive today with yesterday's prayer. You need fresh manna from the throne. Your morning altar is not optional. It's your command center. It's where heaven gives you instructions. It's where burdens are lifted, where ideas are birthed, and where your spirit is calibrated for victory. Let me tell you something powerful. The most dangerous person on earth is one who has met with God before meeting men. That person carries peace where others carry panic. That person walks with clarity while others walk with confusion. When you start your day with gratitude, you open the heavens above you. A thankful heart becomes a magnet for divine direction. So, tomorrow morning, don't just wake up, rise up. Don't just scroll, seek. Don't just prepare for work, prepare your spirit. Make your first conversation of the day a holy one. Whisper to the Lord, good morning, Father, I'm available. Because when you start your day with God's presence, you'll end it with His peace. When you begin with prayer, you'll finish with purpose. Every sunrise is an invitation, not just to live, but to walk with God. So start your day in His presence and watch how heaven starts moving in yours. The first moments of your day carry more weight than you realize. They are not just minutes that pass between sleep and activity. They are the steering wheel of your entire day. The thoughts you entertain when you wake up begin to construct the atmosphere that will follow you. If your first moments are filled with worry, your day tends to move in that direction. But if they are filled with peace, gratitude, and awareness of God's presence, that same peace becomes the rhythm that guides every step. When you open your eyes in the morning, you're not simply waking up physically. Your spirit is also awakening to a new opportunity. Every sunrise is a divine reset, a blank page written by the author of time himself. Those first moments are sacred because they set the tone for your decisions, your mindset, and even your responses throughout the day. The way you begin determines the momentum you carry. If the first voice you listen to is the world's, then the world will shape your focus. But if the first voice you seek is God's, His word will frame your perspective. The early moments are like the foundation of a building. You can't see them once the structure stands, but everything rests upon them. A rushed morning often leads to a scattered day, while a scented morning leads to a day of stability and strength. The secret is not in how long you pray or how much you say, but in the posture of your heart when you begin. Those quiet minutes before the demands of the day arrive are heaven's invitation to align your heart with divine order. It's in those moments that peace settles, purpose awakens, and direction becomes clear. Mornings belong to God because He designed them as the beginning of every new story. The dawn is not just a shift in light. It is a spiritual announcement that grace has been renewed and mercy has been extended once again. When the world is still and the air is fresh, heaven is whispering, "Come and meet with me." It's in those early moments that the heart is most open and the noise of life has not yet taken control. The morning was never meant to be owned by routine, rush, or responsibility. It was meant to be a sacred exchange between Creator and creation. Before the phone rings, before the world makes its demands, God waits for your attention. The first light of day is His reminder that life is a gift, and every sunrise is a divine invitation to acknowledge the giver. When you give your mornings to God, you are not losing time, you are investing it. Those moments become the seedbed for wisdom, peace, and direction. You step into your day not as a person reacting to circumstances, but as one who has already been fortified by presence and purpose. The stillness of morning is holy ground, and when you choose to meet God there, you're not just starting your day, you're establishing who rules it. Prayer is not an event, it's an environment. It's not something you step into for a few minutes and then walk away from. It's a continuous atmosphere that you carry within you. Prayer was never meant to be confined to a scheduled time or a sacred place. It is meant to be the unseen climate of your spirit. When prayer becomes an environment, it shapes how you think, how you speak, and how you respond to life. It's not a moment of connection. It's a lifestyle of communion. In an event, you participate and then it ends, but an environment surrounds you. It influences everything within its reach. That's what prayer is meant to be. It's the invisible space where your thoughts breathe and your soul finds alignment with heaven. When you live in the environment of prayer, peace becomes your natural response, not your forced reaction. You begin to hear God in the silence, feel His guidance in your decisions, and sense His comfort even in the storm. Prayer as an event is duty. Prayer as an environment is relationship. It's walking through your day with an open channel to heaven, knowing that communication with God doesn't stop when you say amen. Every thought can be a prayer. Every breath can be worship. Every challenge can become a conversation with the one who dwells within you. Before you face the world, face your Creator. Every morning, life begins to make its demands before you've even had the chance to take a deep breath. The phone lights up, responsibilities call your name, and thoughts of what needs to be done begin to crowd your mind. But before you step into the noise, you must first enter the stillness. Because it's in that sacred stillness where strength is born. Facing your Creator before facing the world is an act of divine order. It's saying, Lord, before I speak to anyone, I need to hear from you. It's choosing to anchor your heart in heaven before your feet touch the ground of earth. When you meet with God first, you receive perspective. Because the one who sees the whole day before it happens begins to guide you through it. Every battle you'll fight today has already been seen by Him. Every decision you'll make has already been measured by His wisdom. When you face Him first, you're not walking into your day guessing, you're walking in with guidance. You're not reacting to life, you're responding to purpose. If you don't face God first, the world will shape your mood, your mindset, and your mission. But when you begin your day at His feet, you rise with clarity, confidence, and calm. The secret to standing tall before men is kneeling low before God. Because no matter how loud the world becomes, the one who has already heard heaven will not be shaken. That heaven has already been shaken. The purpose of morning prayer is alignment, not requests. Prayer was never meant to be a shopping list for blessings. It's a moment of synchronization between your heart and the heart of God. When you come before Him in the morning, you're not just coming to ask, you're coming to align. You're positioning your spirit so that heaven's rhythm becomes your rhythm and God's priorities become your direction. So often, we rush into prayer with a list of needs, but true morning prayer begins with surrender, not demand. It's not about saying, Lord, here's what I want, but rather, Lord, here's who I am. Shape me to reflect you. Alignment means bringing your thoughts, emotions, and intentions under the authority of His will. It's the spiritual act of tuning your inner life to heaven's frequency so that you can hear, sense, and follow what God desires for the day ahead. When your spirit is aligned, peace flows naturally. You stop striving to make things happen and start walking in divine timing. You begin to notice that the day unfolds with purpose because you're moving with God, not ahead of Him. Morning prayer is the moment where you recalibrate your soul after the noise of yesterday. It's where confusion gives way to clarity and where ambition yields to assignment. When you seek alignment first, requests find their rightful place. You begin to realize that when your heart is right with God, the things you used to chase start chasing you. Because when you align with His will in the morning, the rest of your day follows His design. God gives daily bread, not weekly portions. He designed life to be lived one day at a time, not all at once. When Jesus taught us to pray, He didn't say, give us this week our bread, but give us this day our daily bread. That means God wants to meet you in the present moment, not in your projections of tomorrow. His provision is always timely, not stored. He gives what you need for today because His goal is not to make you independent of Him, but dependent on Him. Daily bread is more than food on the table. It's the wisdom to make the right decision, the strength to face a challenge, the peace to stay calm in pressure, and the grace to love when it's hard. It's God saying, I will sustain you today. Trust me again tomorrow. Every sunrise carries a fresh supply of mercy and strength designed specifically for the next 24 hours. When you try to live on yesterday's prayer, yesterday's revelation, or yesterday's strength, you'll find yourself weary. That's because yesterday's manna spoils. God doesn't want you living off memories of His presence. He wants you to experience His presence anew each morning. Morning prayer is how you collect that daily bread. It's how you position yourself to receive what He's releasing for today. The reason He gives daily bread is to draw you back into daily fellowship. He knows that consistency in His presence builds trust, and trust builds maturity. When you meet Him each morning, you're saying, Lord, I don't just need what you give, I need who you are. Because in His presence, provision is never the goal, relationship is. And from that relationship flows everything you'll need. Just enough for today and fresh again tomorrow. Prayer. Your morning altar becomes your command center. It is not merely a place of prayer, it is the place of positioning. The altar is where heaven gives instruction and earth receives direction. It's where your spirit reports for duty before the day begins. When you approach God in the quiet of morning, you're not just speaking, you're listening for divine strategy. You're tuning your heart to the frequency of heaven so that you can walk through your day with divine intelligence. Every commander begins his day in the war room, and for a believer, that war room is the altar of prayer. There, God reveals the blueprint for your next step. He gives insight beyond your understanding and peace beyond your emotions. It's at that altar that your battles are fought and your victories are secured before you ever step into the field. Prayer is where you receive the day's instructions before the day even unfolds. The morning altar is not about ritual, it's about rulership. It's where you align your will with God's will, your plans with His plans, your strength with His strength. You're not just preparing to survive the day, you're being empowered to govern it. Because the one who bows before God in the morning stands as a representative of heaven throughout the day. When you treat your morning altar as your command center, you stop moving aimlessly. Your steps become intentional, your mind becomes clear, and your heart becomes guarded by peace. The altar becomes the place where confusion is replaced by clarity, fear is replaced by faith, and wandering is replaced by purpose. Every instruction that flows from that sacred space carries authority because it was birthed in the presence of the King. So when you rise in the morning, don't just rush into your assignments. Report to your commander. Let him set your course, fill your heart, and release your orders for the day. Because once you've received direction at the altar, the world can't shake the confidence you carry. The most dangerous person is one who has met with God before meeting men. When a person has already stood in the presence of the Almighty, no human opinion, threat, or challenge can shake them. There is a quiet authority that flows from intimacy with God, a confidence that doesn't come from status, skill, or strength, but from presence. When you've already heard from heaven, the noise of earth loses its power. A person who has met with God walks into every situation with clarity and peace. They don't react to chaos. They respond with wisdom. They don't chase affirmation. They walk in assignment. They carry something unseen, an atmosphere of assurance that others can feel but cannot explain. That assurance comes from knowing that before the world spoke, God already did. When Moses came down from the mountain, his face shone with the glory of God. He didn't need to announce he had been with the Lord. The evidence was visible. That's what happens when you meet with God before you meet with people. His presence marks you. His words guide you, and his peace surrounds you. You no longer operate from emotion or fear. You operate from revelation. The person who has already bowed before the throne doesn't bow easily to pressure. They move differently. Their steps are deliberate because they've already received divine instruction. Their words carry weight because they echo what heaven has already declared. The world can't intimidate them because they've been in the presence of one far greater. When you meet with God first, you walk among men with divine perspective. You're not moved by circumstances because you've already stood in the counsel of the one who governs all things. And that's why such a person is truly dangerous, not because of what they carry in their hands, but because of who they carry in their spirit. Morning prayer resets your soul. It's the sacred moment when the clutter of yesterday is cleared and your heart is realigned with peace. Throughout life, the noise, tension, and distractions of the previous day can linger in your spirit like dust on a mirror, blurring your clarity, dulling your focus, and weighing down your joy. But when you come before God in the morning, his presence becomes the cleansing stream that washes it all away. Morning prayer is where your soul exhales. It's where the worries that followed you through the night lose their grip and your mind begins to breathe again. It's not just about reciting words. It's about resetting your inner world. It's where you trade anxiety for assurance, confusion for clarity, and exhaustion for renewal. In those quiet minutes with God, your emotions settle, your thoughts reorder, and your spirit comes back into rhythm with his peace. Just as a phone must be recharged to function, your soul must be reconnected to its source. Prayer each morning is that connection point. It realigns your heart to God's truth before the world has a chance to pull you off course. You can't carry yesterday's frustrations into today's purpose and expect to move freely. That's why God invites you to come early before the world awakens so he can restore your perspective and renew your strength. When your soul is reset through prayer, you don't just start the day differently. You see the day differently. The same challenges remain, but you face them from a place of calm instead of chaos. faith instead of fear. Morning prayer reminds your soul who's in control, who you belong to, and what truly matters. It's heaven's way of whispering, "Be still. I've got this." Success begins in secrecy. The greatest victories are not born in the spotlight, but in the silence of unseen devotion. Every public triumph is rooted in a private altar. Before anyone sees the fruit, there has been a season of hidden faithfulness, hours spent in prayer, moments of surrender, and quiet obedience when no one was watching. God does his deepest work in the secret place because it's there that motives are purified, strength is forged, and character is built. The world celebrates what is visible, but heaven honors what is private. What you cultivate in secret determines what God can trust you with in public. When you seek him behind closed doors, he prepares you for doors that will one day open. That's why Jesus often withdrew to solitary places to pray. He understood that authority in public comes from intimacy in private. The hidden place is not isolation, it's incubation. It is where potential matures and purpose gains clarity. Success that is birthed without secrecy never lasts because it lacks depth. But when your roots go deep in prayer, you can withstand any storm. Secrecy protects sincerity. It keeps you from performing for people and reminds you that your audience is God alone. In the secret place, there's no applause, no approval, only authenticity. It's there you learn to depend, to listen, and to grow. And God sees you consistent in the quiet. He can trust you with influence in the open. So never despise the hidden seasons. They are holy classrooms where destiny is shaped. Success doesn't begin when others notice you. It begins when heaven does. The strength of your public life will always mirror the depth of your private one. And the one who learns to win in secret will never lose in public. Gratitude unlocks God's guidance. A thankful heart creates an atmosphere where divine direction can flow freely. When you approach God with appreciation rather than anxiety, your spirit becomes still enough to hear his voice. Gratitude shifts